It says we are live on Facebook.
Yes, I think we're live on the ABCD page.
Yes, we are.
Okay, just make me the co-host.
So I'll just start with our video first.
Yep.
Hi, Bindu. Nice to see you here.
Hi, I'm Amrita Rajpan. I'm an early years specialist. I've been teaching for 22 years, but I've been learning my whole life. And that's why I have a company named Edu Learn Grow. I'm passionate about creating learning environments that are engaging, meaningful, and fun for children. I'm also a sports nutritionist, an avid traveler, an active Rotarian. I'm the territory head for the Early Childhood Association Mumbai. I'm the founder of Edu Learn Grow and the co-founder of the ABCD show.
Hi, I'm Bela Kutwani, also known as Big B. Big for the size of my heart and B for Bela. A fun-loving person with a great sense of humor and a passionate pickleball player. National Core Committee member of Early Childhood Association, founder and principal Cosmic Kids International, co-founder Puppet Maestros and the ABCD show. An educationist and a puppeteer who helps teachers to make learning fun for children by using puppets as a tool for teaching. My vision is to help parents and teachers raise emotionally intelligent children.
Welcome to season 2 of the ABCD show. First of all, we'd like to thank all our viewers for viewing our show, for being so committed to your own learning, and for showing us all your love. We are all geared up to get you the best educators to enhance your skills and to take your knowledge to new heights.
We have some really exciting basket of offerings. We have our ABCD shows where we will call experts to talk about their best practices. We will introduce you to some really value for money and effective products and services. And we have some incredible courses that will help you gain mastery in the subject.
Season 2 has a different format. We will have Ask Amrita and Bela on alternate Wednesdays, where you will ask us your questions on child development and we will revert. And on the other 2 Wednesdays, we will have ABCD shows with speakers or we'll showcase new products or new ideas and innovations.
So parents and teachers, email us your questions on topics relating to early childhood development, education and rearing on the ABCD show 6@gmail.com. And we will be back with the answers on Facebook Live. Waiting to see you soon.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the ABCD show. ABCD and the Online Parenting Summit come to you with a very, very interesting topic: how to overcome challenges faced by working parents in parenting. Today, when we speak of working parents, we are speaking of parents where both the mother and father are part of a profession and they both are earning a living. The trend of both parents working is increasing in the present day for various reasons, and the trend is prominent all over the world. So we are going to be speaking to these working parents who are here with us today about the challenges they are facing, challenges like feeling guilty about not giving all their roles their best, stealing some me time and some couple time for the couple over here, and going that extra mile with their child while multitasking with work, home.
Before that,
and
let's
so
watch
many
the
other things.
online parenting video, Amrita.
Pardon?
Let's watch the online parenting video first.
Yeah, I'll just finish this and then we can
Okay.
watch.
All right.
And now we're going to be talking about, more importantly, how they're dealing with all this. So on to knowing more about the Online Parenting Summit.
So Varna, you can start your video. So Varna, we cannot see anything.
Dwarna.
If you're having any issues, we can come back to the video a little later, or you want us to wait 2 minutes?
Well, I think we can come back to the video at the end of the
So
show.
can she just stop screen share? So Varna, can you stop the screen share option? Because then we can be seen fully on the screen. If she stops the screen share. So Varna, can you hear us?
Signed out.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess now these technical glitches are something we deal with every day.
Yes.
Thanks to technology, we can still be with each other, but sometimes we can't be with each other. So it's all right. And, Sneha will tell us a little bit about the Parenting Summit because we can't see the video right now. But before I do that, I want to introduce Sneha to all of us. Or Sneha, start telling us about the Parenting Summit.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Amrita and Bela, for having us on the show. And I'm so glad that I'm going to talk with all these wonderful panelists. So let me quickly tell you about what Online Parenting Summit is about. We're so glad that we are discussing the most relevant subject right now, and that is the concerns working parents are experiencing. And the most important thing that all the working parents experience is the parent burnout. Specifically in such challenging times, we are doubling up as educators. We're doing so many things working from home, which can result to a burnout. So the Online Parenting Summit is a platform which will help parents redefine their parenthood. And it will help parents to raise the 21st century children with the right amount of love, right amount of logic, and the right amount of intent. As parents, we're so confused about how much is too much and how less is too less. So through this summit, we will get to understand everything about parenting and raise the emotionally resilient children of the 21st century without experiencing the burnout. So like these wonderful panelists who will throw wonderful light on this most relevant topic that 21st century parents are experiencing. There'll be a lot more in the summit, and it will aid parents, give them the right tools and strategies to redefine their parenthood and become a better version of themselves for their children. The summit starts on the 25th of July and it ends on the 29th of July. It's a free summit and parents can watch all the recordings live during the summit days. But just in case they want to be part of all these live recordings, they can always upgrade to the very important Parent Pass. And I am so glad that we have partnered with ABCD Show to spread this goodness to so many parents.
So looking forward to
Wonderful.
this, Neha. And Amrita, can I request you to put everybody on speaker view so that whoever speaks can be highlighted?
Yeah, I'm going
Thank
to
you.
introduce people. So we are going to have the introduction, and then when we start the panel, we're going to spotlight all of you. So, so till then, let's all just be together, right? So Sneha, thank you so much for telling us all about the parenting summit. You know, and you know, as all of you may have gathered, Sneha Tapadia is a hands-on mother. She's a co-founder of the online parenting summit, along with her husband Aditya Tapadia. And her mission is to redefine parenthood to new age, real practical practices. So this platform has the best of industry experts, educationists, psychologists, and they're all here just to guide parents on their challenges. Right? So welcome. Sarah, you want to tell us a little bit about your child or your children?
Yeah, I would love to. So I am blessed with an angel who is 8 years of age. Her name is Adna. She is in grade 2 right now. So a lot of what I would be talking today would be from my own experience as a mother. And yes, I would also be adding experience of all the other parents who've been interacting with me through these years. I am so glad to embark this beautiful journey of parenting and happy to discuss everything about being a parent.
How wonderful. Welcome, Sneha. And now we come to the only male on our panel, Mr. Hussein Dwarvala. So Mr. Hussein has been associated with national and international schools for more than 16 years in the capacity of an academic head for middle school, secondary school, and high school. And currently he is the Chief Academic Officer at Crimson Education and also the academic head at Fazlani, L'Académie Globale. He is an expert in CBSE, IB, and Cambridge programs. And he's also been working with the IB organization as a school visit team leader, a workshop leader, and a consultant. He's been conferred several awards for his work in the education space, and the most recent being the Edupreneur of the Year Award in 2017 and 18. And that was conferred to him by the Associated Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So welcome, Hussein. You want to tell us a little bit about your children?
Yes, yes. So it's only one child. So thank you, Amrita and Bela, for having me here. As I was telling before we began, I don't know, whether to feel really happy or whether to feel this. But I think one thing is because I work in school, I've been surrounded by women. So I think I'll be okay with a panel which is predominantly women oriented. My son is 7-year-old, and it's been an absolute roller coaster journey. I think there have been ups and downs like any parent, but I'm just glad that I was part of that ride, because I think experiencing this ride was the biggest high point. And that's about it. As we go along, I'll also share some other things which I do with him. So I don't want to let the cat slip out of the bag right now. We'll keep some things for later. So thank you, Amrita.
We're all
Thank you, Hussein.
waiting, Hussein. And now we have Hussein's lovely wife, Tasneem Dwarvala. She is passionate about international education with inquiry as a stance for teaching and learning. And she always tries to stay innately curious about the world around her. She has over 14 years of work experience in IB primary years program and IB PYP. She's a facilitator, she's a team leader, she's a PYP coordinator, and she's a member of the school pedagogical leadership team, as well as a Cambridge primary program trainer and an early years and primary curriculum specialist. My, that's a lot. Tasneem. She also has a master's degree in education, and she's passionate about teaching and learning. She specializes in leading pedagogical training workshops for teachers, national and international curriculum design and implementation. And Tasneem, we want to hear a few words from you.
Certainly. Good evening, everyone, and such a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Sneha. Thank you, Amrita. Thank you, Bela. Thank you for having us here, and thank you for this wonderful platform that is being created. I think it's need of the hour indeed. So I am a 7-year-old mother. It's just been a sweet and sad journey for me because I don't think anyone learns how to be one, how to be a mother or a parent rather. We learn on the job, right? And with children, we learn a lot. I think more than me teaching my child, he's teaching me a lot. And I love this journey. So ups and downs are always going to be there. It's just how we embrace all of it and make the most of it. So I'm just enjoying this journey. And this lockdown has really made it much more meaningful because considering the work that we do, we used to be spending a lot of time away from home, but now this 1.5 years I've enjoyed with my son. So I'm really looking forward to many more such wonderful journeys together. Thank you.
Thank you,
lovely.
Tasneem.
We're waiting to hear about all your experiences, Tasneem.
Sorry, ma'am.
I said we are all waiting to hear all about your experiences.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to share whatever I am best at. Thank you.
Super, super. And now we have Rubina Singh. She's the CEO of iProspect India, India's premier digital performance agency. She has almost 20 years of experience, and Rubina has developed expertise and built an enviable track record across digital, print, and broadcasting. So under her leadership, iProspect India has grown rapidly and now serves 100 plus clients. She employs 200 plus people, and she has a very diverse portfolio. She's got PayPal, GoAir, a lot of them on our client list. Her agency has won numerous awards, and she's also won numerous awards. So she was, in fact, named as a top 50 influential men and women in the media and entertainment industry in India by the Impact magazine. So welcome, Rubina. Tell us a little bit about your parenting journey.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on my show. And thanks for the extensive bio on my professional career. But, I have to say that it all becomes meaningful now that I have my daughter who's 8-year-old. And when she says, when I want to grow up, I want to be like my mom, that brings a sense of pride in the work that I do and makes it all so much more worth it than just doing it for myself. Me and my husband, we are blessed with an 8-year-old, and like they say that mothers and daughters are best friends. And as she's growing up, she's turning out to be a very good friend of mine as well, along with a growing girl, very responsible growing girl. And I'm really happy to be with so many other parents and talk to them and learn from them about their experiences.
That's lovely.
Oh,
Thank
lovely.
you.
We're all waiting to hear. And now we have with us Avida Golwalkar. So Avida Golwalkar is a social development professional with degrees in gender, social work, and human rights, with over 18 years of experience in the development sector with UN agencies such as UNICEF, UN Women, government and national and international NGOs. She's an alumnus of the prestigious Institute of Development Studies, University of Sussex, UK, and she's conducted extensive trainings on adolescent, reproductive and sexual health, HIV, AIDS, life skills for young people. She's also co-founder of ABCD India, a development sector consultancy firm. Welcome, Avida, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Amrita and Bela, for having me here today. And it's a panel of such, illustrious panel and, extremely accomplished people over here. So I'm really proud to be a part of this. And I'm a mother of two. So one is 7-year-old, I have a daughter, and my elder one is 15-year-old. So yes, I'm on both the extremes right now. So yeah, with a teen and with a, bubbly youngster, both together. So, parenting is a choice we all make, but I'm really proud that I have made one. And it has been a wonderful journey. I won't say it's always happy and joyful. There are moments of pain also, but it's worth it. And right, as many of you are experiencing, and you have, experience in dealing with children, that there is no standard manual for parenting. So we create our own, right? So I'm really glad that, the forums like this exist where parents can exchange, whatever their learnings are, their problems are. So I think in this era, it is all the more useful that we have platforms like this wherein we can interact with each other. So yes, I'm excited to be a part of it. And thank you for having me.
Welcome, Avita.
Thank you.
So right now we're going to be asking you all random questions, okay? And if anyone else feels they want to contribute to that question, we'll be very happy. We also feel that if you feel any of the other panelists should answer that question, please pass on that question to another panelist. You know, I'm sure when we've seen everyone's profile, everyone is so diverse, you know, and they're all doing different things. So possibly you feel that question, you would be curious about how that other person is going to handle that question. Please go ahead and pass on that question to any of the other panelists, right?
Amrita, can we start the speaker view as well, please?
Yes, I'm trying, Bela. It's just, is it now on speaker view?
Not on the. I'm trying to see Facebook. It's not yet showing me speaker view on Facebook.
But
Because
over
it's
here,
very.
here it is on speaker view.
And now I can see speaker view. You're right. You can continue.
Yeah, okay. All right. So Tasneem, first question is for you. So many people take maternity leave for 3 to 6 months, and then you get back to work after that. So tell us what your experience. You know, did you take that maternity leave? How was the transition process of going back to work? Did you have any worries about how your child was being looked after?
So thank you for this question. I think very, very important and very, yes, I love this question, in fact. I honestly didn't take a maternity leave. I bounced back to work in 45 days. But yes, as a parent, as a mother, let's put it as that, as a mother, that worry is always there. You know, balancing between motherhood and a career is difficult and very emotional. But with the support of my mother-in-law, I have to say this, my mother-in-law, she just made it so easy. She was the one who actually encouraged and motivated me that, no, you can go back to work. Don't worry. I am there with your child, and he's as much as mine. So don't worry at all. But yes, I would like, I had carried my baby to work also a couple of times. You know, I mean, I used to do that. I've carried him in my meetings. And my colleagues understood that, you know, they appreciated that. They took care of him also at the same time when I had to speak, and they would take him, you know, with them and try to pacify him. It was fine. But luckily, with the support of my in-laws, my amazing husband, I think I was blessed to be able to get back to work in 45 days. But after 3 months, I did start leaving my child at home. After 4 months, got a little difficult vibe for the simple reason that, you know, then he started eating. So I was worried, would he eat? Would that food that I've left behind for him be enough for him? What if something happens to him? What if mom is busy and, you know, even she's working? So what if she has to attend to something, and who will take care of him? But I think by God's grace, everything just fell in place, and I was blessed to be able to move back to work. And it's, you know, one thing I just want to tell everybody is that if you've made the plunge, then you got to be there, because then it's not fair to your organization. You have to give 100% there. And if you're not ready to do that, then you might as well be at home, so that you can take care of your child who needs you at that point in time. So that balance has to be struck. So luckily, I balanced both. My organization was also very happy because I gave my 100% there. And when I came back home, then it was only my child's time. So that was the balance I did strike when I once got back to work.
That's lovely. Would you like to pass this question to somebody else?
I think Rubina could answer that as well.
Yes.
Sure. So Tasneem, very much like you, I went back to work in 45 days. And the reason was that, you know, in the corporate world, like we often hear about this gender bias, especially with, you know, new mothers, etc. But I was very lucky. I was handed a promotion just when I was, you know, just when I was to come back. Right. So it was therefore necessary for me to join back work in a role which was much larger than what I was doing before I went for maternity. So, you know, I think it was the need of my work. That's why I had to come back in 6 weeks, and not that time, you know, it was 3 months and not 6 months at the time around when we had our children. So I came back in 6 weeks. Having said that, while I was very well supported, like you said, by my family, my mother, my mother-in-law, my husband, and it takes everybody to raise a kid when you have to get back to work. You have to have that support. Otherwise, it's very difficult for women to get back to work, right? I had that. But at the same point in time, what I also had was a very supportive organization, very supportive boss who understood it, right? So when I went back and in corporate jobs, we have long hours, it's not usually an 8-hour day, it's often a 10 to 12-hour day. But what I did, not just for 3 months, but for maybe 6 to 9 months, is that I would get to work only for 4 hours, do the meetings that were necessary, and take the work back home and then finish up at work. Was it easy? No, it was definitely not easy on me. I'll be honest with you. While my boss was very supportive, while my family was very supportive, I think at the same point in time, I had to deal with a lot of peers, people who were under me, who would pass snide comments and say that I'm not doing my job properly, or why I did not deserve it because I was not. And at that time, work from home was not acceptable like it is today at scale. It just seemed because I was not in office, I was not putting in the perceived hard work that was required to actually deserve that position or befitting of that position. So I think that was very, very challenging on me. But, what was important for me was to make that choice, like you said, Tasneem. I don't, I think slightly differently. I don't think it's about balancing, because I don't think you can have it all, right? It's about choices. And mothers are always faced with choices. You have to make that choice. If it's important for you, you choose something and don't feel guilty over it. So I made the choice that I wanted to get back to work. I wanted that position. I didn't want to take a step back and say I'll continue at my role, which would have been fairly easy for me to continue. But I made that choice. So was it easy for me managing my work? No. Was it easy for me? Because especially my child was a premature baby, leaving her at home, even though in the care of my family, no, it wasn't easy. But was it a choice I made? Yes, it was a choice I made, and I walked into it with my eyes open. And yes, it did all turn out well in the end. But I have to tell you, the first 1 year was very, very rough. So I just want to be transparent with everybody that when you think of it in the hindsight, it all seems, it all worked out fine. But when you're going through it, it's often not such an easy period in your life.
Especially for a working woman, I will say.
Yes.
Yeah, I think everyone can take this question. I think, Avida, you've also had a journey like this where you've had to leave your child or children, I guess, and study, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So
Right.
I took a big plunge in my career. I took a career break. I was working with UNICEF at that time, and I decided I had to pursue this course at the IDS in gender and development. And my eldest one was just 5 years old at that time. And it was a full-time course. Like, you can't be here and do the course, online and all was not an option for me. But the desire to do it and the dream was so strong that I had to do it. Otherwise I think I would have killed some part of myself at that time. But I have to look after my child. I can't do this. Oh my God, what would my people around me would say about me? What kind of mother I am? We have a big thing about labeling good and bad mothers. But thankfully, I kind of followed my instinct, my dream, and my husband, my in-laws, my mother, they were super supportive. They were little critical. I wouldn't, kind of cream it all. Yeah, I had some internal resistance, but I think I made that choice. I stood by it. I went outside. I was in the UK for about 10 months at that time. And my son was here with my husband, mother-in-law, and mother here. So all the time worrying, how it's going to happen and all that. It was really difficult time. But I think, I just took it, that, it's going to work well, it's going to end well. So that was the thing, this is something I always wanted to do in my life. It's not now when, it was like that, the question. So I did that, and all the time, sometimes the guilt would creep in. Okay? Is it right? Is it the right decision and all that? But, my husband was super supportive. Even my son, he never even once cried for me. And sometimes it was like, it gave me a bit of complex. Is it forgetting me? So that was another, extreme of thinking. But I think once you make up your mind and you have your choices, like Rubina said, it's about making a choice in that moment. not thinking about past, not thinking about future, but in the moment, what do I think is good for me, you know? And I was really happy coming back. And I think coming back, it fulfilled me in a way. And I could give all the more love to my child. And I was, and from a space of happiness and joy, you know. So it was not an empty feeling that, you know, I have to do it because I'm a mother, but it was a lot of joy and gratitude, because, you know, my husband, they were there to support me. So I think, yeah, for us as working women, choices and how do we kind of stand up by those decisions is very important. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
quite a
sure,
journey.
it was not easy leaving a
Yeah,
5-year-old and going for 10 months. It's like a
absolutely.
brave
Yeah,
decision.
yeah.
Sneha, what
Sheila?
about you, Sneha?
So I think I can combine all these answers, and that probably my answer. Even I started working within 45 days, and I
Wow.
didn't have a very smooth post-pregnancy period. So in fact, I had a lot of depression, and it's very hard for you mentally, physically, and emotionally. But I had support from my husband and my mother-in-law, like the other parents just said. It is so critical and important to have that support system. In fact, I started my other organization called Jumpstart, which is a preschool, when Arna was born. So within 45 days, I started with that organization. And I just remember what Aditya had told me, my husband. He said, like, it's now or never. You have to take a decision now and get into it, or it would never come by again. And I'm so happy that I took that decision to start that organization, because when I started working, I realized that I have my me time. And when I get my me time, I'm emotionally and mentally very satisfied. And when I went back to Arna, it was more peaceful with her. So then I got to do this and that. But like Rubina said, it is not easy. It is definitely not easy. There is a lot of judgment from the other parents, from your own family members. But when you have support of your in-laws and your husband, then you need not worry about it. And another wonderful thing that I had was my school is very close to my house. And I run preschools and daycare. So I had the support system of my daycare also to take care of Arna. So this worked in my favor. I know it wouldn't be that easy for a lot of other parents, but still parents do it. And I think this and that is the answer for the working parents.
Very true.
Sheila, are you curious to know if Hussein took any maternity leave?
Yeah, why
Paternity
not?
leave?
We should ask that.
Hussein, we are very
Yeah,
curious.
I'll tell you, my wife delivered 4th of March, and I handled the high school section, so predominantly the IB Cambridge A levels, and we had our school mock exams happening at that point in time. So I also teach. At least I used to teach at that point. I've stopped teaching now. So I had someone bring in, papers to me in the hospital. She was at Leelavati in Bombay, and in the night, once Tasneem and my little one went off to bed, then till 1:32, I used to correct papers. The next day, I called someone to send the feedback back to the kids because they were preparing for a board exam. So I think that was just in a very small way, right? I think with what all these wonderful moms have said, my contribution has been very, very small, but just in a small way. And I think that support, I think that's something which is unanimous. I think that plays a big, big role, and I've seen it in my friend circle as well. When the husband and the family, the in-laws are supportive, it becomes that much more easier for women to get back to work. And I think in today's time, that is so important, not just because of, from a monetary point of view, but just because, everyone has an aspiration, everyone has a goal. In fact, I think I would love to call some of these ladies to, school to chat up with some of my older girls, especially in class 10, 11, and 12. And, whatever is your dream, whatever is your aspiration, don't just give it up because, you're getting married. And we see that happening so often that, just because I'm entering into a relationship, I think, okay, now it's time for me to, just put my dreams or aspirations aside. So here we have testimony with, 3 great moms who have actually done it, who walked the talk.
Yes.
So that's about it from my end.
Very well said. My next question I would like to ask Rubina is, did you ever feel guilty for not giving it your all? And if you did, how did you cope with that guilt?
So Bella, I have to be honest, like I said earlier, to me, the way I look at it is about making choices and choices that I believe in, right? And I don't think, once you make a choice and if it's not forced upon you, people do try to make you feel guilty, whether it's
That's
at
right.
work, whether it's like some of the other panelists said, it's your family or friends or other mums, right? Who are able to spend or choose to spend more time with their children by staying at home, etc. that peer pressure is always there. But I think it's about yourself making that choice. And I think once you make your choice, you're accountable for it. So then the question of guilt doesn't arise. To me, it's not guilt, because I look at it, even in the pre-pandemic days, right? When I would be at work, I would give my 100% to work. And when I was with my daughter, I gave her my 100%. And, without sounding or stereotyping the stay-at-home moms, but I often saw them being there for longer hours with their children, but not spending that 100% quality time with them, right? Maybe, and I understand that, right? I'm not condescending of that. I understand that if you're there for prolonged hours, you need your me time, and maybe that's not. But when I would be with our daughter, I would give her 100% attention. My mobile would be away. I would not be watching any screens. I would not be doing anything, but I would be focused on her. Likewise, when I was at work, I was focused 100% on work rather than constantly, trying to worry about what is happening at home. And I had faith. Yes, it is very hard, but, I put faith in my mom, in my mother-in-law, to be able to make the right decisions for my child. As much as I would like to parent her in my own way, but if I chose to get back to work, I had to allow somebody else to make those decisions rather than getting upset with them for taking that decisions and having that control. I think which often gets into that guilt then, because you want your child to be raised in a certain way, or you are not at work because of a certain thing. So I think for me, it's been very clear. I've been far more, I think I've been very less emotional and more practical about this, and said that it's my choice. And if I've chosen to be, let's say I've chosen to skip a meeting and therefore be with my child, it's my choice. And if I've chosen to, skip a performance of my child and then be at a meeting, that again is my choice. And I don't try to regret my choices. I make them myself. So, I know what is going to be the par for the course.
But how does your child feel? You've not come for some program of hers and you've gone. What does the child go through in that case?
So, Bella, I think when she was younger, I don't think she realized it so much. As she started growing up, obviously when all the other parents would be, then she would feel that, oh my God, my mommy's not come, or on her sports day, my husband couldn't make it. He was traveling. All the daddies are there for the sports day, and why is my daddy not there? Why is mommy having to come today? Sometimes that happens, but I think, especially with girls, when they see today, she feels extremely proud that my mom's the boss. She's got so many people in her team, so she feels extremely proud of that. And I think she understands that with that responsibility comes some sacrifice. And I've spoken to her. I've told her, like I care for you, I care for my team. They are my extended family. So sometimes I have to be there for them, and they need me more, right? And there are days when you need me more. So I think when you talk to a child and explain to them, break it down in a simple way, I think children are very adaptive. They understand if you talk it to them, explain it to them in the right context. And I also think I'm setting the right example for her, because what she will not expect or what she will not do as she grows up is to be taking that pressure that as a mother, when she's a mother, that she has to be all there for her child and not pursue the things that she wants to, right? It's going to be her choice. So I guess happens over time. Yeah.
I think you explained very beautifully. You need to explain to the child exactly what you're going through and make it very clear to a mom. This mama's this time now. Let me go here and I'll come back to you when I have the time. So that's very well said.
Yes.
I also think what is so nice is that you're accepting responsibility for what you've taken up. I think once you accept that, I think everyone else around you also accepts the same, right?
I think it's maybe they don't accept it, but I think you've got to become a little bit more thick-skinned and not fall under that pressure. Not everybody, understands it, but your close family will. But a lot of friends, a lot of other people you meet socially, people at work, necessarily they don't understand it, right? But beyond a point, I mean, you care about the people who are close to you.
Does anyone else want to take this? Sneha?
Yeah.
What do you feel?
So, talking about guilt, I still experience guilt a lot of times, okay? I'll be very honest with it. In spite of knowing the fact that, this is what I love. I'm so passionate about this and I need to continue with this. So just 2 days back, Arna scored 4 on 10 in English, okay? And I was a topper throughout my school years. And she came home and she knows these childhood stories of mine. So she just came to me and told me that I've scored 4 on 10. Not like you did when you were in grade 3. just if you would have been by my side, you're lucky charm. I would have probably scored 9 or 10, is what she ended up telling. And for that moment, I felt that guilt, thinking, oh my God, she really wanted me next to her. And those are those crucial moments when children really need you around them. And then that thought came into my mind. I'm doing so much for so many parents. I'm doing so much for so many children. And here, my daughter needs me at this moment, this time, and I'm not there for her. So I do experience these moments when I'm really, really guilty about everything. But what I have realized, and something which has come to my rescue, is prioritizing things for the day. So what I have realized is if you just make things that you want to do with your daughter, a list of things that you want to do with your daughter for that particular day with your child, and things at your work, and just put a tick mark on all those things for that particular day, there's immense sense of satisfaction that you get, that you have planned these many things at work and these many things with your child. I think this tool has somewhere helped me overcome that guilt, because the moment she says something like this, I know that I have done my needful things with her for that particular day. Now this is just about communication and connecting with her, telling her that probably if you need me next time, tell me in advance. I'll definitely be there for you. So, but yeah, I do experience these guilt pangs a lot of times till date, but it's just about understanding where you are needed and where you need to work on and where your actual presence is required.
I love your idea of the to-do list. What have I done at work and what have I done with my child?
I'm done
think
with it. Yeah.
I think all parents should take that advice and start doing that. All working parents, at least.
At least then your
Yeah.
mind is clear that you have done something both places.
Yes.
Wonderful. Anyone else wants to answer that?
So
I would just like to, sorry. Yeah, Tasneem, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead, Amrita, no problem.
No, yeah, thank you. So I just want to add one more thing. Like, I think the entire guilt thing is also like how much you want to take as a mother, do you really feel that, as a mother, I have to do this, if you have created a really ambitious list for you, then it's a trouble. But I think there is also something called partner work. You have a spouse, right? So, you sharing the responsibility is also an important thing. Like, okay, I might not be there for one annual function or one sports day, but if my partner is present, my husband is there, father is there, then I think, things get pretty much sorted out. But I think you need to ask for help. What we do is we want to be like, this, I can do this, I can do that, I can manage this, I'm a multitasker, I'm a superwoman, I think somewhere we lose the ground in that. So for as a mother, as a woman, how much I want to take on me, and how much I'm ready to share, delegate. So that is also, I think, as a parent, as a mother, is a very important thing if we are working and we want to be, part of our child's life journey, at least in their most important moments. So I think that is something very handy, that, ask for help whenever you need. I mean, help is always around.
What about those women who don't trust their partner to do the job effectively? There are some women like
Anyone
this as
over
well.
here who doesn't trust their husband?
So I think that was my
Tasneem.
cue to come in. Yeah, I think Bela specifically made that comment so that the only father comes in. So just to share, yeah, I think dads share a lot of guilt as well. Before the pandemic, because I travel also very, very frequently and very often, and you have that guilt that I'm not really spending as much time, especially when my son goes for football classes. He's quite an athlete, and he likes me to come more than his mom. So, there are times when I just cannot go, there have been times that I've promised that, okay, I'll come for your game. And by the time I finished, the game was already over. So there is that guilt, and, then you try to overcompensate it by doing things on a weekend, etc. But I think what Avida said is probably, having that priorities right, and probably delegating that, okay, today, this is not something which I can actually manage. And I think the pandemic has really helped in that, because I've watched my son grow up from a very close quarter. And he started understanding, because kids are very, very intuitive. So, if you tell him, like today, if I tell him, Papa has a Zoom meeting today, he will ensure that he will not be in the room, he'll not trouble me, etc. So I'm sure, if you have that honest conversation, probably somewhere, the guilt will be a little less. But I think guilt is a part and parcel of parenting. I think till our kids will get married and they'll have their own kids, I think we will continue to remain guilty for one thing or the other.
Yes, but the question actually was, does Tasneem trust you with the child alone to do what is right for the child.
We have that, we almost lay a bet in front of my son that will you travel with Papa alone somewhere? You know, both of you have to travel alone. Will you all go together? Of course I will. Not a problem at all. Papa and me are going to go this. So he has a long list of what he's going to do with Dad. So yes, of course. But you know, one thing that I would just like to share, taking something from Rubina, Sneha, and Avida, as Rubina rightly said that yes, talking to our children, I think it makes it so much more easier, and they're very receptive. They absolutely understand. Like Hussein just said, when we tell him that Arhan, we have a Zoom call, and for the next 1 hour we will not be able to spend time with you. I think they understand that after a point. First day they may trouble, second day they may keep coming into the room, but now I know he'll tell everybody now, shh, Mama's on a Zoom call, don't come. Like right now also he's told everybody, do not enter the room. She's going to be busy for 1 hour. So, but you know, as parents, we keep thinking, and it'll always be there. It's always our worry that are we doing enough for our children, especially as educators. We wear those two hats as an educator and a mother. Am I doing enough for my child? Oh, this friend is sending her for so many classes. This friend is sending for this class, and I don't send Arhan for anything. Am I doing enough? Is his learning getting maximized? But then my mom sat me down and said, we are not in a rat race, and nor do you have to prove yourself as a parent to anybody. Nobody's going to come and help you take care of your child. You do what is best. First, you be happy. And literally, as a kid, my mother-in-law makes me say this, like positive affirmation, something works beautifully. And all of us do this in front of the mirror. There is a time. All of us stand there. We are awesome. We are a happy family. Whatever we want, something positive to end the day. And we write our gratitude journal at the end of it, where we write the smallest of things. That today, Didi made me something that I loved having. It's written in the journal, and all of us have a dedicated time at 8:30 that we sit and write this. So these are the things which even helped me cope, that it's okay if I'm not doing this, but we're doing many more other things. So I think look out for those finer details, those smaller details, parents, and I think it's a beautiful journey with your child. Just look at them, smile, and your day is made. I don't think we need anything better than that. So
I like the idea of the journal, and especially when all are doing it together.
Yes,
that's really nice.
We have to. Otherwise, he says that you are not doing it. Why do I have to write it? No, they cross question you. So it's like we have to roll
So
model.
thanks to Tasneem, all of us have started our preschool journey once again, you know, because I'm sure I've definitely forgotten, you know, what I'd done in preschool. But thanks to Tasneem, I've actually lived through that entire thing once again with all our routines and this. So thank you, Tasneem.
How lovely, really. And I love this, the whole family bonding together over the journal.
Yes, I think it's the best time, ma'am. We just love it. And we actually ask one today. You know, what is it that you are thankful for and grateful for today? And the answers that each one of us thinks and comes about makes the other person reflect that, oh, I didn't think of it. And let me look at it tomorrow from a different lens, you know. So it's that, yeah.
Very nice. Tasneem, I'm shooting the next question to you since you're anyway on the spotlight. You know, so you spend quite a few hours away from home when you're working. Do you have a problem with disciplining your child? Because see, you're not there to monitor, and there are so many things that you would want to teach your child, right? Social etiquette and many other things, values, ethics. And yes, of course, disciplining your child. How do you deal with that?
Tough one, ma'am. But I think one thing that I've realized is that staying away from Arhan pre-pandemic was that he was a child who had to express himself. And once I understood what he's trying to express, see what happens is we have to understand why is that behavior. When they are indisciplined, we need to understand why is he or she doing something like this. There is a reason definitely behind it. If they are angry, there is a reason behind it. If they're throwing a tantrum, there is a reason behind it. So I had to just start finding that out. It took me a long time. To be very honest, it was not easy. I was struggling a lot to discipline him. And, you know, when you have grandparents, you know, they're all trying to be, they go the extra mile to do everything for them. You ask something and they get it for them. You know, their love is very, very different. But at the same time, you are trying to discipline in a very different way. So the child is very confused as to what is right and what is wrong for me. When it's a no, right? There are some things which are non-negotiable. So stories came in very, very handy to me, you know, and my son luckily loves listening to stories. So by way of stories, we actually brought about a lot of values, lot of disciplinary acts for him. What was important is to give him voice and choice. So we actually created a choice board for him where he wrote what he would like to do. Okay, every time we imposing, Arhan, you have to do this, Arhan, you have to eat like this, Arhan, you have to do this. It's too much of nagging for a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old or whatever age group your child is. The moment they get a voice, they get choice, I think half your battle is won. So he makes his schedule. He tells me, Mama, okay, I'm going to watch TV for 45 minutes. Then I'm going to study like this. Then I'm going to do this. I'm going to play. I let him do that. He slips out of it many a times. He does slip up. But I keep reminding him, Arhan, it's put up on your board. You have to remember. The time you have to do it. Some things are non-negotiable. We all have to have dinner together. There'll be no gadgets at that point in time. So those disciplinary acts do come in. So they're non-negotiable. When we are together, we will not use our phones. We will not watch television. So all that is very categorically said, and we follow that as well. So we say, we agreed to. As a family, Arhan, we agreed to. We never say, Arhan, you have to do this. I think that personally is incorrect. It's not fair that only the child follows and you don't, because they're constantly watching you. So if Papa is watching the phone, we automatically jump on him and say, Papa, you are doing the wrong thing. You've broken the essential agreement today. So we do that with him. And I think it's beautifully blended in with all of us for that matter. And luckily, stories have really helped us. And Hussein, I think I must commend him now on this platform and forum that every night he tells him a story before he goes to sleep. And it's not a story which he reads to him. So Arhan very sweetly says, Papa, tell me a story from your mouth. That means, Papa, tell me your own self-created story.
So
it's not a storybook that we read. So whenever an incorrect action has happened, we don't tell Arhan, you did this. We weave it through a story and say, this child had done something like this, and this happened. Arhan, how did you feel? What did you feel about it? It's just not about the story, but we also reflect as a family together. So we have a reflection chair. It's like a bean bag. We go and sit over there. If Mama is angry, Mama, time out. So we press our calm button. I'm calm, I'm calm, I'm calm. We go like that. And then we sit on that chair and we talk about it. So Arhan will come and question, Mama, why are you angry today? What's upsetting you? Something happened at work. Something did not go right. So we also let our emotions out in front of him. It's absolutely fine. And we talk it out to him. Because I think they understand that now very beautifully. And then when we talk to him, we narrate a story, we also discuss the story. That what did he learn? And the most important thing he enjoys is we make him wear this red cap. So that's Edward de Bono's six thinking hats. So the red hat talks about feelings. So when we narrate a story to him, we talk about feelings of that particular character or how did he feel? And then he shares it with us. And the very next day, we see a drastic change in his approach to a particular situation that he would encounter. So stories have, in a nutshell, beautifully helped me discipline him.
Oh, lovely. I think everybody should answer that. Sneha, please go next because everyone's, working and handling both places. So I guess, this, but Tasneem, very nice. Really,
totally.
Very nice.
I liked the idea of voice and choice. It's so brilliant.
Yes.
It's amazing. Because it gives a lot of power to the child also to make his or her own decisions. Lovely.
You take ownership. That's the best part.
So what I do with Anna is little bit of prior conditioning, telling her in advance what is expected out of her helps her. So we usually talk about how the next day is going to be. So we have a detailed discussion at night about how her routine is going to be for the next day, what time she's going to get up, what time is the class going to start, and what is she going to do after the class. So her daily routine is spoken verbally and agreed to a day in advance. So that conditions her mind to enter the next day with the right frame of mind. So once this is done, it is about setting healthy boundaries that, okay, 45 minutes of screen time is all right, completely all right. So go ahead and watch your 45 minutes. You tell me when do you want to see those 45 minutes. So that is what we do. And at the end of the day, there's again a lot of questioning and connection and communication about how the day was spent. So this helps us to develop that bond and connect. And then she understands how my day was and I understand how her day was. So every night it is about asking her day was, what was her challenge in the day? What did she like about the day today? And then we have this discussion and set the routine for the next day. So this communication, prior conditioning and setting healthy boundaries works well. And then there's no question of disciplining because once the boundaries are set and the prior conditioning is done, it's just about she owning up to the set routine and the responsibilities. So this works wonders for us.
There are so many children, even if you tell them, they still want to rebel. Obviously, children can be children. How do you deal with that? You're not at home. And I'm sure, Arna must be wanting more than 45 minutes. And then do you all argue about it?
So, yeah, she does question. And I think, like Tasneem said, it's very important to understand why do they want to rebel. A lot of times children back answer or not giving enough choices to them or not giving enough power or control in their hands. The moment that is done and we give a lot of options to them or a choice within a given set of choices, that solves a problem. So screen time is going to be 45 minutes. When do you want to watch it? Morning, evening is your control. So that's how we work with her, by setting the ground rule, by setting that healthy boundary, but a choice is given within that set boundary. So this works wonders. But I have a confession to make. Like Tasneem said, it's so important that both the parents have to be on the same page, right? Both the partners have to follow all the rules set. But it does happen that once we decide this content is going to be 5 minutes, one of us may extend within after those 45 minutes are done. And then she comes, obviously she questions, asks us that your 45 minutes are done, then why are you allowed to watch screen after 45 minutes? So it's about discussion and reminding that you have to be the role model yourself before you go ahead and implement those rules to the child. So yes, that is what we do with Arna.
Rubina, what about you?
I think Tasneem laid it out very beautifully. Our daughter, she goes to an IB school as well, so she picks up a lot of these techniques, which I think the school also does a great job of like inculcating, these kind of values with the kids. But and IB is a slightly more independent way of like raising children, and it helps mothers, who are working, because your child becomes more independent, learns how to make choices. But I think what is important is, like some of the others said, you can't be lecturing or nagging your kid all the time, because more often than not, then they're going to rebel, right? It becomes very important for you to be able to model that behavior in front of them, right? So let's say if there is a boundary set for them, what are your own boundaries? How do you behave in your boundaries? Do you keep breaking your own rules? And, they are like sponges. They're young and they're very observant, and we think they don't understand, but they understand very, very quickly. So, one has to be very conscious of how you're modeling that behavior in front of your child. The other thing is always the way we talk to our daughter is that we always tell her that, it's choices and consequences, right? So there is a good voice in your head and there is a bad voice in your head. Now, and, you pick what you want to do. So you choose the good thing, and then there is an outcome of that. And if you choose the bad part, there's also an outcome of that. And then you can't change the consequences, because that would happen, right? And small things, like everyday small things. They don't have to be big instances with a kid.
Like I want ice cream and I'm not supposed to have it, but
yeah, so say, okay, you have ice cream, and then tomorrow you have a cold, and then you're going to be suffering for 3 days. So do you want to really do that? And if you want to do that, go ahead, right? So like yesterday, my daughter was wearing a beautiful white dress, and she came down for dinner. I said, I think it's best that you go and change and wear your night suit and then come back and sit and do it. No, mommy, I want to sit in this. I said, you're going to stay in your dress, and because, you're eating, it may drop, you may stain your dress. Said, no, but I want to do that. I said, okay, go ahead. Right? So she comes, she's eating, invariably as kids are eating, she stains her dress. Immediately, I didn't have to say anything or correct her. She said, Mommy, I'm so sorry. I know what you said was right, and I will learn that next time, right? So sometimes you allow them to also make those mistakes and learn from their own experiences rather than constantly correcting them. I think from a value point of view, I think, again, you have to look at it from a child's perspective, right? If she's made a card for me or something, she's gone to the kitchen to cook up something small for her father as a breakfast or a snack, giving positive affirmations in terms of values, that's really kind of you, to do that. Or if she's made a mistake and she comes and tells us that, I made that mistake. So we really encourage her. That's really being honest and brave, that you're accepting your mistake. Or, let's say earlier, like she had made a plan with her bestie and suddenly she doesn't feel like doing it because she's a voracious reader and she just wants to read. So we tell her, do you think it's the right thing to do to cancel on someone like this? So it's constantly, you have to start getting them to think about it and encourage them to take the right choices. That's what our style of parenting has been, rather than setting boundaries and telling them this is, or more like how we were raised, like this is right and this is wrong. So we don't make those choices for her, and sometimes we do let her make the wrong choice. So another time, she's really keen that we were traveling somewhere and she said, I want to have a picnic in the garden. And we told her, let's go. And we know she's she's not a very outdoor kind of a girl, and she doesn't like these creepy crawlies in the garden. So I told her there'll be lots of ants, there'll be lots of creepy crawlies. You will not like it. No, mommy, I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. And, anyways, we said, okay, fine. We went to hotel. We said, can you set up a picnic for us? And they set up a nice picnic for us. And as we wanted, we knew that she would get up in 5 minutes, but we allowed her to make that mistake, right? Because we have to see what is the downside, because constantly disciplining also is not the best way of, teaching a kid. So sometimes you have to let them see the downside, because then they trust you more, and they know then sometimes the decisions that you're enforcing on them, when there are times where you have to enforce that decision on a child, then they know that, if you put your foot down this time and it's not every other time, then, it is for their best interest. So that's how we teach our child.
I think it's a lovely way, Rubina, the way you're giving her the choice. It's your consequences. You have to face it and actually experiencing it herself. That's the best thing you could have done, really.
Yeah,
Very nice.
and it's okay to make mistakes. That was really important.
Learn through mistakes,
Avida, this question should come to you too. When you left your child for a year when did you ever face that problem, knowing how is he being disciplined?
Yeah. So the thing is, for me, it was never a question of, it was always like, positive reinforcement instead of discipline, So when you even you use that term discipline, it has some connotation attached to it, So as a child right activist, I'm really not in favor of that, using that term also. So, frankly, I've never done that with my children, like both of them. So never. But yes, I have been using a lot of, giving them options, giving them choices, making them understand the consequence, on themselves, and letting them fall sometime, actually. So letting them commit some mistakes, and, making them realize, how it feels, and if you feel that it's a mistake, how it can be, remediated. You give an option, if I have done something which I was not supposed to do, now I have done it. And how do you feel about it now? And what can you do about it now? So it should come from them. So I made sure that the basic values like, love, compassion, respect, they have to be intact. There is something very non-negotiable kind of thing that were always there with me. But apart from that, it was a very free flow. And there was a very great element of trust, that, if I am raising my child with these values, I trust my child to behave in a certain way, even if he or she is falling sometimes, that's okay. There is a great learning in that. So there was always this great trust and belief in their own inherent values, which I think they have picked up. And as Rubina also said, that we have to model the behavior, So I think that has been a great part of my journey as a mother. And having seen so many kids from various diverse backgrounds in my career, so I know, how it feels, to be chained by your own choices. Sometimes, you can't force all the time over your choice and your beliefs and your opinions on your kids, what is right and wrong. And kids these days are very smart, very intelligent, very sensitive. Their emotional quotient is so high. I think we were never there when we were, children. Maybe it has to do with the kind of, parenting we got, but I think we can always do better. So, but these days, I think things have changed, and we as a parent have to evolve up to them, actually. So it's other way around. They are teaching a lot to us. It's up to us what we are absorbing, what we are creating, what we are evolving as our parenting style. But yeah, I think we have to be very, very particular about the kind of values you want to instill in your child. And I think rest everything is taken care of. So you have to trust. I think trust is very important part of it.
This will go to all the panelists over here today. Has anyone ever told, I'm going to tell daddy about this, or daddy's going to look into this? So let me know your honest answers. Or dad says mama's going to look into it, since we have a father as well on the panel. Can we start with Avida, since you're here anyways?
Yeah. So I think it happens, but I think it happens very unconsciously. And then, when I speak that word, I realize, okay, this is not something I'm supposed to do. So that I think maybe in initial years of my parenting, I would say 15 years back, it used to happen, quite frequently. And then slowly, as I got into the mold, I understood, this is not the right way, actually. This is not, I want to demonstrate to my child that, what I am saying or what my husband is saying are two different things. So there has to be, and then we had a lot of discussion, like me and my husband, we had a lot of discussions around it. What is the kind of message we want to convey to our child? So initially it used to happen a lot, yes, but I think when you get into that awareness, that what are you creating, what are you modeling, then I think slowly you kind of amend your behavior and your communication with your child. But it's difficult, and it's a very sweet mistake, I would say, we make sometimes knowingly and sometimes unknowingly. But definitely it's not a very model kind of behavior, and it doesn't serve any purpose.
And I think it gives a message to the child that, one is the stricter one, or, I'm
Exactly.
the lenient one, but just you wait.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to deal with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jasdeep, or how do you deal with the situation?
Okay.
A very it's funny rather. So many a times, children are very smart. They know who they need to go to. When he knows he's in trouble, daddy is to his rescue. So my mother-in-law will come in. But I think luckily for us, we're all on the same page. Like mom will give in many times, no doubt about it, but she knows when to give it. Many a time she does, no doubt about it. But as a family, we've said that if it's this scenario, if it's this situation, we all have to say the same answer. We don't want to confuse him. Like you rightly said, ma'am, that we don't want them to ever feel mama's more strict or dad's more strict or dadi's more lenient. We never want that happening. All of us are on the same page. So rather now he plays it with us that way, that I will go and tell papa, or I will go and tell daddy. So
He's a smart boy.
you can speak to anybody, darling. We're all going to, let's sit together and talk about it. Okay, you want to bring daddy in, you want to bring dada, nana, whoever you want. Let's all sit together and discuss this. Initially, yes, I used to say that, okay, I think I'm going to tell papa. So then what would happen is that he thought that, okay, there was more authority over there. And that's when I realized, I said, like Avita rightly said, that's a sweet mistake we made, because we couldn't handle at that point in time what to do with our child. But I think now, very clearly he knows, we're not going to go to anybody. If mom's saying something, then it's only mom saying something. If dad's saying something, mom will not interfere. So I tell him that you can go to whoever you need to. That's absolutely fine. But ultimately, this is what is going to happen. And you will, do as what you want only, but in a way that is beneficial to everybody. That's what we're going to look at, where everybody is happy at the end of the day. So I think children can play us very, very well. And we need to know where to actually draw that line and tell them that, no, bacha, you are not supposed to be doing this. And they, that no is sometimes, I think it just doesn't make sense to them. It's a baseless word at the end of the day for them, So that no has to be turned very positively. So would you rather like something like this, is what we tell them, instead of a no. Can we try this rather than saying a no to him? Because if he's wanting that 46th minute of his iPad, when Sneha also said that, that 45 minutes are over and he wants the 46th minute. And I ask him, why would you want that? Mama, I have to unlock this one gem. Okay, give it. Now 2 minutes, jada mang raha hai. It's okay. Now just give it. Then he's satisfied. He will not have that urge that I want it all the time. So we know we have to just balance that. So he doesn't have to go to papa, mama, daddy, dada. I think all of us are there for him at that same page. That's important. So that's how we deal with it.
Very nicely put. Rubina, would you like to take that question?
Yeah, I think, in our case, it's the opposite. We don't know how to deal with that order, because kids are very smart, right? And on small things, right? Which are not, of course, which are the larger things, which are values, etc. We're all on the same page. We will all say the same thing at the same point in time, right? But let's say both me and my husband are on a meeting. Suddenly she'll come to me and say, Mommy, I want to have a donut right now. And maybe she's already had one in the morning, and I'll say no. And then she goes to her father and asks the same question, Daddy, can I have the donut? And she's not going to say that Mommy said no, right? And he probably is not aware, and he'll say, yeah, go ahead, why not, right? So, I mean, and these are small things, right? It's not going to harm her or whatever. Or maybe doesn't know she had one in the morning as well because he was busy at work, etc. So it's not like we're trying to undermine each other or not on the same page on some decisions. But this does happen all the time. And I think the challenge really, and we haven't solved this challenge, though we always try to correct her that you can't do this, right? When we get to know that this happened or wherever we uncover this has happened, we try to correct her that this is not good behavior, and we try to correct it with her with the consequence. But this is something is more of a challenge rather than kids going and finding their way of getting what they want. Rather than I don't think they want to undermine authority of. I don't think it's like I want to undermine my father's authority by going to the mother or mother's authority by going to the father. But it's more like I want my way, one way or the other, and let me just go to whichever family member who
Let me wheedle my way.
find a way to get what I want, right? And it is a challenge with growing up kids because sometimes the things are so small, so innocent, and they're not like big, which are complete non-negotiables that you would say put your foot down and say no to. And that's a trap as parents we fall into all the time, right?
Thank you, Rubina, for being so honest, really, because that was something which everyone faces, and children can be very, very smart. They know how to get their way across. Yeah. Sneha, what about you? Both of you are parenting experts. So how do you deal with it?
So I so agree to what Rubina and Tasneem have just said. Children are really smart. Like Amrita, you just said they know how to get their way around. But what we have done specifically is divided our areas very clearly. Like when it comes to academics and food, it is my thing, okay? So anytime she has any challenge when it comes to academics or food, Aditi will just make a statement saying, I think I'll discuss with Mama and get back to you on this. So for example, if she wants to have that extra pastry or the extra chocolate, and he knows that that's my area. So she's like, I think you must have asked Mama about this, right? So he does question her before he's become smarter. And then she'll leave an answer on yes or no. And then he'll say, okay, fine, let me discuss with Mama. And then I'll tell you whether it's okay, it's all right, or it's not okay. So this to a certain extent has made her realize that, okay, eventually Papa is going to ask Mama on this territory. And let me just go and ask her about this. He's not going to give me any final dictatum or answer on this. But not everything can be planned, right? There are some instances where they can just come and ask you some random things and questions. So in that case, what we have done is, this is a secret code. Quickly WhatsApp or messaging. I've already told her this. So if she goes back on this, you know what is to be done. So this is one thing that we have realized, that we really need to keep each other updated and communicate enough when we take a certain decision on a particular thing. So just like the other day, now in Pune, swimming pools have opened, okay, and she just wanted to go and swim, but the weather is not right, and she really, really wants to go and swim. The only reason is we just don't want her to go in the swimming pool. She'd already asked me about swimming pool, and that territory was not defined, by the way. So she asked me, and I said no, we can't go to swimming pool right now. We'll see when the weather is nice, and then we will go out. I had to quickly message him and tell him, I have said no to swimming pool. So we know that the next thing is going to go to her. And then he had already read the message and said, Mama has said no, right, Arna? So we can't go. So this is what we have done, and this has worked wonders for us. Quickly informing the other partner is the key, I think, and deciding the territories and areas probably helps keeping both the partners on the same page.
Very true.
Really nice. I think I like this idea of the WhatsApp.
Yes.
Keeping each other informed. Right. We already asked Tasneem, but Hussein, do you want to say anything? Do you just feel like passing it on sometimes to someone else?
So, I just tell my son, like, that Papa listens to Mama for everything. So, you also just better do that.
I like that.
Secret success to, everyone staying happy and everyone getting what they want. So just listen to her. And I think that's worked really well. And just going back to, the earlier question about the discipline part. I think also, and that's something which I actually follow in school also with older kids. Kids today, 15, 16-year-olds, you can't, discipline them or tell them. Let them make some mistakes. So I'll give you a recent example. When things opened up, I took my son, we all went to Lonavala. When we go on the Ghat, just before that, there's a McDonald's, and he had not had McDonald's for a long time. He saw the big M and, Papa, you have to stop the car. I said, Arhan, we're going on the Ghats, you'll definitely puke. But he was adamant and insistent. I said, okay, fine. So he had his burger, he had his milkshake. We started the Ghats in 15 minutes, he puked. Once we reached, he said, Papa, next time, even if I say so, you are not going to stop anywhere on the expressway. Please take me directly home only, because it was a bad decision on my part. So I think sometimes when they make those mistakes, I think that kind of a discipline is going to stay on for life, rather than us saying things, because kids get immune, that okay, mom and dad just keep telling us things. And so when they experience something by themselves, I think that is like lifelong learning.
True.
Yes,
Very
I
well said.
agree. I think it's very important for a parent also to choose their battles, now. Which
Yes.
battle they want to
Very
fight.
much.
Is it
So
really worth it? Then fight all the battles with your children. Bella, I think we should just take one quick
Yes, one last
question because,
question, and a very important
yes,
question we'll take right now. I
yes,
want to
Bella.
ask all the panelists one small question is, how do you take out me time with all the workload that you already have? So something very short and quick, if you can just, everybody turn by turn say
Me
something
time,
about it.
couple time,
Yes.
I think it's very important, no, in today's age.
Can we start with Tasneem?
So I think happy moms raise happy kids, or happy parents raise happy kids. So I think for us to be happy first, that's very, very important. And we are in this whole, thing together. We're in different boats, but we're still in the same storm, So that me time is very, very important. Like I just want to tell all the moms. So what I do is specifically, I love drawing and sketching. So whatever time of the day, even if it's midnight, after I'm done with all my duties, all my work, everything, I have to remove that half an hour, which will give me that little, time for myself, my little music on, sketch for like half an hour, listen to some good music. And now I've of course started even getting down for walks, and that's when I go along with Hussein. So I get that time, that good 1 hour with him. And we just talk random stuff. It's not talking about Arhan, it's not talking about school, it's not talking about work. It's just fun stuff, going back to our childhood days, college days, stuff like that, if you want to talk. And that's the deal we've struck, that we want to be happy at that point in time. We don't want to bring in an issue or a concern, because we're all filled with everything. We have it enough throughout the day. So that's the deal we've put together, that we're just going to have fun together. That 1 hour, we're going to talk, we're going to sing if we have to while walking, that's fine. But that 1 hour that we've removed for ourselves, made an attempt to do that, and that's working beautifully, because we come back so fresh and our son is waiting for us, and we love that. And then that time after that is just beautiful. So that 1 hour is just a couple goal, and the me time that we get on.
Lovely.
Hussein?
So you're actually doing a 2-in-1.
Yes.
Yes.
Hussein, would you like to add something to what Tasneem has said?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I actually, the best time which I have is when I go in my car to work. So I actually travel almost 1.5 hour, and I love when Tasneem, nobody else is there with me in the car, because that 1 hour, the kind of peace and tranquility which I experience is unbelievable. Even there is traffic all around, it really doesn't bother me. The other thing that we've done, and I think that's probably a big thanks to the kind of support we have, is every 4-5 months in the pre-pandemic time, we should take these short breaks, only the two of us, without Arhan. So that used to also just allow us just a couple of days, not anything which is too long, but just probably just connect, because sometimes with the child you get so overwhelmed with everything that comes with the child, and schooling, and homework and classes, etc., that you don't really get that husband-wife time. So that's something which we've done, and we were able to do it successfully to a great degree, where I just take out those 2-3 days, come back refreshed and ready to fight new battles from Monday onwards.
Lovely. Really. And I like this walk thing, because then it's a daily thing, You're not waiting for a couple of months, but every day you're getting your time. And I like that Tasneem said she doesn't bring any concerns to that walk. It's concerns or
So
for things to
I'll let you in on a secret. That's because of me. So I've told her that, Tasneem, if you're going to tell me Arhan has done this, he's not done homework, then please, then we'll have to stop these walks. So I'll come alone for a walk.
Oh God,
This
so
is a
sweet.
time when we are not talking anything about schooling, because if you look at mums, right? Mums for 24/7, they're obsessed with schooling, and what is happening in school, what is happening with other kids. And I've seen Tasneem, even though she's in the education sector, I think she's also got caught up in that kind of this, just being a mom. And I think sometimes she forgets that she's also a teacher. So just tell her, at that point in time, we are not discussing anything about Aran. It's just just things, random things that we can talk about, common interests, etc.
Very nice. Rubina, would you like to share something?
Yeah, so I think now it's so much easier because, right, you're working from home and you have the flexibility of taking out time for yourself and with your husband. But I think what I did always earlier as well was I would, start the day early, start with a workout, right? And though my husband would go to the same gym, we would go at different times. Because sometimes you need your space because that would help me clear out my mind, get my thoughts out, start my day well. And even during the pandemic, I've kept that routine on, right? Wake up in the morning, I have my coffee by myself, and then I get into my workout. And I think that helps me clear my mind completely, or get rid of whatever I have to, or channelize my energy properly through the day. So I think that is very essential for me as a person, right? Having that maybe 1.5 hour in the morning just by myself. So that's nice because it's in the morning and everybody else is like kind of sort of still getting up, waking up, doing their thing. And I think between me and my husband, we're both coffee nuts, so that's a good thing. So even earlier or even now, we love our coffee dates, and which are almost every day. It will be after dinner mostly for us, and we can have coffee after dinner as well, or even now. So we do that, and I think our daughter's seen us grow up to that. So earlier it was easier because she would go to bed much earlier because she had to get up much earlier for school, and now with online school, etc. But she knows that if her bedtime was 7:30 p.m. earlier, now she's extending it to 8, but 8 she knows she has to go back into her. So if she wants to read and be up for another half an hour, 45 minutes, it's okay, but then she has to go up. She cannot be in the living room any time beyond 8. So that's the sort of so that gives us time to be with each other, chat with each other, or get out if we want to, or do whatever we want to. So I think that has really helped us.
Yeah. Because I think even work is quite stressful. Even though you're working at home, there is a lot of work happening at home, and finding time for each other is a challenge. It's great that you're taking it out after dinner. Yes.
Yeah.
Sneha, what about you?
So our story is slightly different because both of us work together at the same place. So there is too much of us time, a lot of times, and then we desperately, both of us, need that alone time. So for me, Rubina, my alone time and my me time is my morning workout, because I start the day with the right energy and intent the moment I start working out, and I really feel light, happy, and fresh after my morning workout. So that's my me time. And when it comes to our couple time together, most of the time we're together, we are together most of the time at the same place. But we consciously have to make that effort when we go out after dinner to not to talk about work, because both being in the same profession, there are pros and cons. I keep discussing about that. The pros is we both understand the pressure we're going through, and we understand that there are certain deadlines and why he's taking that amount of time and why I'm taking that amount of time. But then we both consciously have to make an effort to shift to a different thought process or to a different talk. And we are still evolving on that, because the moment we both make a pact that we're not going to talk about work, someone or the other would get a call and then it all goes for a toss. So we are still struggling on that front. But we have a lot of time to each other. And I think both of us are really passionate about what we are doing. So though we are there together on the project, we're also spending a lot of time together as a couple. And that, I think that's very therapeutic as well. So that's how we go ahead with our couple time.
Abida?
Abida's left, yeah.
Yeah, so I think taking the
I
me
think
time,
Ashish, your husband travels a lot also.
he
na?
travels a lot, and so I can't really vouch for the we time. It's really rare. It's really rare. But whenever like he is around, I make sure that in the evening we go for a walk for 1 hour with no gadgets at all. So no mobile, no nothing. So we just talk random stuff, something like that, nothing related to children, nothing related to schooling, parenting, nothing at all. So that is one thing I look forward to. But I wouldn't say it happens regularly. It's like, once a week or so if he's around. And otherwise, for me time, it's like I do yoga and meditation in the morning. So that is my recharge time, completely rebooting and, just looking forward to the new day. And that, I think 1 45 minute 1 hour gives me a lot of strength and a lot of insights into as to how I want to spend my day. And I have a ritual, like, I have my morning tea in my balcony, and there are little plants around, and I can see the, sea from here. So it's like, that's my connection with nature and with my chai and with myself. So that's just 10 minutes of time, but it is so refreshing. And I think I don't compromise on that at all. So I have to have my tea all alone on that same chair, same place every day. So that is something, yeah, I think you don't really need to have big things. Even the smaller moments in the day where you feel recharged, where you feel more connected to yourself is your me time. So yeah, it's quite possible. And for couple and we time, I think it really needs some kind of planning, which I'm really bad at.
Great.
Yeah.
So I think that brings us to the end of the show. Do you have any questions, Amrita? I don't. No,
I
they're not
can't see
questions.
any
No,
questions,
no.
but this
Any
was so
questions?
insightful,
Yes.
Everybody gave their bit about parenting. And yeah, it's not a rosy journey, which is always happy. Everyone's struggling with something. There are so many little challenges that you face. And I just love the honesty of all these panelists.
Yes.
And
In fact, I feel they all spoke from their heart and they gave the old real life examples. I'm sure many can learn from the little examples that were shared today. And it's going to be really a good learning experience. In fact, those who have want to learn even further, please join in, enroll yourself for the online parenting. Lots more to be learned, and there's never an end to learning. So I would take this opportunity to thank the entire panel over here today, starting with Sneha, of course, first. Sneha, thank you for this lovely platform, online parenting also. Then Rubina, Tasneem, Hussein, and even Avida. And thank you, Amrita, wonderful host. And happy to have all of you here today. And bye bye until next time. See
yes,
you.
thank you,
Thank you so much.
everyone. Loved having
Thank
you
Thank
you.
on
you,
the
Thank you
everyone.
so
show.
Thank
much.
you so
Thank you.
much. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Everybody.
Bye
Bye.
bye. See you
Bye.
all.
Bye. Bye bye.